And now for our meeting reminders, please welcome TM Elray.
Good afternoon, fellow speakers, leaders, junior ambassadors, and guests. Before we formally start this afternoon meeting, to keep things in order, here are some meeting reminders. Keep your mic on mute to avoid disruptive noises during the meeting. Keep your cameras on so we could see your beautiful faces. Let's all make good use of our listening ears and give our full attention to our speakers. As a member of the Salt and Light Junior Ambassadors, Speakers and Leaders Club, we aim to be effective communicators. To formally start today's learning session, let us join our hearts in prayer. Lord Jesus, we thank you and praise you for this special evening, for this chance to gather and learn together. Help us discover and grow our talents together, that we find our gift's purpose to serve one another. Thank you for the gift of family and friends to continue to support us. Let your spirit be upon us to enlighten and guide us. We put our confidence in you, O Lord, for with you nothing is impossible. Teach and guide us to be salt and light, that everything we say or do be pleasing to your sight. All this we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. And now for our welcome remarks, let's hear it from Mentor Grace Garcera.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Junior Ambassadors Special Meeting Changing Mindsets. By the way, my name is Mentor Grace Garcera, and today I'm not just your mentor, I'll be also your co-host for this afternoon's program. And I am delighted to share with you this hosting opportunity with our junior ambassadors. Ladies and gentlemen, junior ambassadors and fellow advocates, it is such an honor to be spending this Sunday afternoon with you all. And of course, we would like to show our appreciation to our friends from different parts of the world. We have our guest, Mr. Bowen Tang, all the way from Canada, and supporting us today is Sister D, all the way from Australia. Good afternoon from the Philippines. Okay, and of course, the parents here today. Marami pong salamat, Daddy Rai and Mommy Abby for being here, and a sweet little baby sister. Thank you. And of course, Miss Lauren. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you all for sharing your precious time. Once again, I'm Grace Garcera, founder and mentor of the Salt and Light Circle Talents Community. As Salt and Light, we use our talents to help the communities within our reach. As speakers and leaders, we are here to use our voice to make a difference and really bring out the best in people. And in this community, we want to help our group, our advocacy, and today we here to help. As we shine our light on changing mindsets for World Hearing Day 2024. Yay, it's truly a privilege and honor to take part of this purposeful endeavor in ensuring we practice safe listening and promote accessible, inclusive communication. When you say inclusive, everyone should be able to connect and communicate with each other. That is what inclusive is all about. Whether this is online or offline, or meaning face-to-face, everybody should be able to communicate with each other. Okay, and let us make this a fun session this afternoon. Please pay attention till the end of our program to our host for this afternoon. Please welcome our junior ambassadors, Junior Ambassador John, Junior Ambassador Jalea, and Junior Ambassador Gift Garcera. Over to you.
Thank you, Mentor Grace. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, fellow speakers, leaders, Salt and Light Junior Ambassadors, parents, and guests. Welcome to the Salt and Light Junior Ambassadors, Speakers and Leaders Club meeting number 135. Salt and Light Junior Ambassadors is an affiliate of the Salt and Light Talents community. Our community exists with only one purpose in mind. That is to empower talents from all walks of life. We are mentored by our professional events host, Mentor Grace Garcera, who is also among the advisory body of the Peer Support Network. We are your hosts for today. My name is John Gabriel Moralve.
And I am Jalia Saliva. And we are from the Salt and Light Junior Ambassadors, Speakers, and Leaders Club, which group is now officially part of the Millie Connection Small Forces of young, safe listening advocates and support the World Hearing Forum initiative on changing mindsets through TEL-E-Health Plus Peer Support Network Platform for Action. Oh my! I am so excited to hear from our wonderful guests for this afternoon.
I feel you, Julia. But first, let's listen up a bit. Let me give a shout out, fellow junior ambassadors. Can you please unmute for 3 seconds and say hello?
Hello, everybody! Hello, everybody!
That was very encouraging. Thank you so much. To the rest of our guests, can you please use the chat box and type 1 if you're ready to learn today? Happy to that everyone is excited as we are.
Our next featured speaker is also one great global hard of hearing advocate on hearing healthcare. We are just so excited to have this online interview with him. To formally introduce our next speaker, Bowen is an educator with a lived experience of hearing loss, being a bimodal CI recipient who believes in the value of connection and power of community. As an international activist, he is passionate about raising awareness or accessibility and inclusion by working with local and global organizations to transform society mindset towards people with hearing loss. Currently, he is a president of the International Federation of Hard of Hearing Young People, which is a global federation that represents organizations of hearing impaired young people and advocate and advance the right and interests of young individuals with hearing loss worldwide. He works globally while being based in Vancouver, Canada, as he is also currently an engagement manager at Cochlear Canada. Hello, Kuya Bowen. Hi. First of all, how should we call you? Is it okay to call you Kuya Bowen? Because in the Philippines, Kuya means an older brother.
Thank you very much. I appreciate learning the term. It's wonderful to see all of the energy on this call. And it is a pleasure to be here. I think you've kind of woke me up a little bit because it is nighttime. So I appreciate the energy. And you can just call me Bowen. That is pretty straightforward. Yeah.
It sure is a pleasure to meet you online. Truly awesome. We came across this post on what does disability looks like. A picture of a child with a hearing impairment and a TV with the words no captions. The words impairment and disability are indicated below. This is interesting, and perhaps you can further elaborate from your own perspective.
Yes. So, it's interesting when we talk about the term impairment, because that is what people say about hearing loss is hearing impairment, and that is a medical diagnosis that we hear from the doctors and any other medical professionals. And yes, it is true that our hearing is impaired in the sense that we're not able to hear as well as any other people. But that does not mean that we, as a whole, are impaired, because we can still do anything that we set our minds to do, as long as we have the resources and the tools to be able to do that. So I have the privilege of being given the hearing aids at the early age. So I was identified with moderate hearing loss at the age of 2. And so for the first 2 years of my life, my parents did not know that I have hearing loss. It was only when they realized I wasn't really responding to their voices, and they took me to the doctor. And then, of course, the doctor said, "Oh, your son has a hearing impairment." And then I got the hearing aids. And then that is how I was able to access the sound and then learn how to listen and speak. Right. And because of the first 2 years that I didn't have the access, I had a language delay. So I had to play catch up. And I was in a preschool where there were also other children with hearing loss. And we learned how to listen and speak. And so from that point on, it wasn't really about looking at how hearing impair my ability, because my abilities can be the same as anyone else once I'm able to hear with the hearing aids. Right? It's just a matter of how I am hearing differently than other people. That I rely on technology to be able to access information, whereas other people can just hear naturally. And one last thing I will say on this topic is it's important that we change our mindset. As we know, the theme of the World Hearing Day is to change the mindset from looking at hearing impairment to hearing differences. And because there are different ways that we're able to hear, even though we all have some form of hearing loss. So, for example, some people hear through hearing aids, some people hear through cochlear implants, some people hear through bone conduction hearing aids. And so we all hear differently in our own ways. But it all comes down to looking at the gift and the assets that we bring to the community from our own experiences of hearing loss. So I always say that people with hearing loss is a very good communicator, because we know the importance of communication, clear communication, and we listen from the heart and not just from our ears. Right? Because we care enough to know what the information is. And so these are some of the many gifts that we can look at for people with hearing loss, and not because we are impaired in any way. Okay.
Thank you, Kuya Bowen. Kuya Bowen, just a follow-up question. Please share a bit more about your life than as a kid like us. What has been your personal struggles in your life journey from childhood? And how did you overcome your challenges or your struggles and become such a great advocate in helping communities and fellow hard of hearing young people across the globe? What has inspired you?
Yes, well, I am thankful that I had a very positive childhood, at least in the elementary school, where I had great teachers, and one that specifically worked with me to develop my listening and spoken language, especially after I lost more hearing when I was 10 years old, where one day I woke up one morning and I couldn't hear anything at all, even with the hearing aids. So I was completely deaf at that period, and that's how I got my cochlear implant. And once I got my cochlear implant, I had to learn again how to listen with the cochlear implant. So I had a great teacher that helped me with that. And then when I was in school, I was the only kid with hearing loss in my school. But unlike other people, I have never been bullied in school because of my hearing loss. So that was a thankful experience that I didn't have to go through that in elementary school. A lot of the times, my friends and classmates were more curious about what I'm wearing. So the only thing that they made fun of would be my clothes or my hair, are the typical things that kids make fun of, but never about my hearing loss. So elementary school was great. And then in high school is probably where things became a little bit more challenging. And this is because in high school, there are more conversations happening. So it's not like we play hide and seek or soccer or different games in the playground. High school is more about having conversations in a noisy place. Because high school can be really noisy. And so it was challenging for me to understand what the conversations were. And this was the moment where I had to learn how to advocate for myself. Because when I didn't know what was happening, I tried to make guesses. And those guesses tend to be wrong. So one of the more embarrassing moments that I experienced was I thought my friend was introducing his girlfriend. So I said, "Oh, hi, it's so nice to meet your girlfriend." And then my friend had this shock look, and he told me, "That's actually my sister." Uh, so that was something that was really profound to me, that I needed to learn how to ask questions. So if I wasn't sure, then I had to ask to make sure that I got the right information instead of bluffing. Um, there were many times when somebody asked me a question and I didn't know what it was, and my instinct just say yes. Even though it wasn't a yes or no question, it was like, "How are you today, Bowen?" And my answer was yes. So that didn't really make sense. So high school was a struggle as I figured out my identity as a person with hearing loss. And so, again, at that time, I was still the only person with hearing loss in my school. And that's where I realized I needed to find my own community where I could talk to other people with hearing loss who could understand the struggles, and they can share some of the strategies that they use. And so I joined a local group in Vancouver that is organized by the Canadian Hard of Hearing Association. And that's where I met other people around my age with hearing loss, and I got to learn from them as well, and to be able to feel less lonely. Because in high school, that was where I, for the first time, felt lonely, that nobody else could really understand what I was experiencing or feeling. But once I found that group of young people with hearing loss, that feeling went away. And that's how I've learned to become an advocate for the lessons that I've learned, and I want to pay it forward to share my own experiences with other young children, and that leads me to become a teacher. So you mentioned that my job was the engagement manager at Cochlear Canada. that was one part of my career. Now I am the teacher of the deaf and hard of hearing, and my job is to educate children with hearing loss to help them learn how to advocate for themselves and to develop socialization skills to be able to be included in the school community. And that is the job that I have always loved. And I continue will do that. And so aside from doing my job, I want to see what's out there beyond Canada. Because at that time, I only knew, the community in Canada. I didn't know what it was like to be a hard of hearing person or a person with hearing loss in different countries. So I was originally born in Hong Kong, just to give you some background. I knew what it was like for someone living with hearing loss in Hong Kong. Back in the 90s, there was a lot of support. And there were a lot of people who believed that people with hearing loss will not be successful in anything. That was the attitude in the 90s in Hong Kong. And that was why my parents chose to bring me to Canada, where there's more support and an open mindset. But of course, now things are a lot better in Hong Kong, which is fantastic. And so at that time, after I graduated from high school, went for university, I only knew Hong Kong and Canada. So I always wonder what are the people with hearing loss like in Europe, in Africa, in South America. And so one day, I got an email telling me about this opportunity to go to a conference in France. And this conference was organized by the International Federation of Hard of Hearing Young People. And the travel cost was covered. And so I signed up and I went there with no expectations. I just wanted to go to Europe. But then as I got on the plane, I realized, oh, how am I going to talk to those people? Because they have different languages, and I don't speak French. I don't speak any other languages except Chinese and English. So I'm like, oh boy, how difficult will it be? But boy, it was so easy to connect to all of these people from all around Europe. One came from Africa, if I remember correctly. And so even though we all spoke different mother languages, we all did our best to communicate with each other, whether it's using paper and pen, sign language. But most of all, on the first day, there was no awkwardness. Like we just clicked. Just by seeing each other, we know that we belong together in this community. And I have discovered lifelong friends that I have been privileged to call them part of my family. And this is what I say about this global community is we are a second family compared to our own immediate family, like my parents, my immediate family, and then my second family are these young people with hearing loss that are part of this organization. So when I went to this conference, I learned about what the resources are like in other countries. So for example, in Scandinavia, it's the dream country because everything is covered from hearing aids to hearing healthcare, education, everything is covered by the government. And that is wonderful to hear. We don't have everything in Canada, while we do have a good healthcare system, but we do have to pay for our own technology when we need to get new ones. So Canada is somewhere in between. So now I know how could we advocate for more, right? So once I learned that all Scandinavia has all of these resources that I could advocate in Canada. Okay, this is what we can do better for our community. And then I've learned about other countries, like the limited resources where, people don't even know the impact of hearing loss. People have no understanding behind it. And so recently, I gave a presentation to Mexico, and they don't have a concept of what it means to be hard of hearing. They only know it's deaf or hearing. There's no in between. And so I explained the concept and why it's important to explore this identity. And so, the world is a big place and we're all in different stages. And so the idea behind this community is to share our experiences, our stories, learn from each other, and how we can all together aim for the same goal, which is equal and equitable access and inclusion for all people with hearing loss. And one thing that I've learned recently is ultimately being able to come together as a community really, really does wonder for our mental health, because hearing loss impacts mental health significantly. And if we don't have a community to share our challenges, we will only withdraw even more. And so that's why I really like the theme of tonight is shining a light, right? And by being part of this community, we're shining a light to hope. To show that there is hope for us who are navigating hearing loss, that together we can support each other to be the best version of ourselves. Yeah. That's all I have to say for now. Yeah.
Okay, and Tiam Julia, you have something to ask? Kuya Bowen?
Kuya Bowen or Bowen, not all kids or even adults know about the diversity in hearing disabilities. So, can you share about this diversity in hearing disabilities?
Yeah, I'll just try to keep it brief because I know I can go on and on. So I think like the first thing to understand is there are different types and degrees of hearing loss. So when we talk about types, is to look at the cause of the hearing loss. So there are two main types, and one is conductive hearing loss, and the other one is sensory neural. The conductive hearing loss is where the outer ear and the middle ear are damaged. That prevents the sound from going into the auditory nerve. So an example of a conductive hearing loss could be where some people they don't have an outer ear, so that's called atresia. So there's no way for the sound to go in, or the ear canal could be completely blocked, that the sound could not go in, or the eardrum or the three middle bones are not moving in the way they should be, so that impacts the sound signal to the auditory nerve. So with the conductive hearing loss, it can be medically corrected. So it can be easily resolved by a surgical intervention or by wearing a conventional hearing aid or a bone conduction hearing aid. Now, with the sensory neural hearing loss, which involves the cochlea. The cochlea is the part of the inner ear, and inside the cochlea there are hair cells. And these hair cells are responsible for sending the sound to the auditory nerve. So when the hair cells are damaged and not able to function, it is permanent. It is permanent. Okay. So that means it cannot be fixed. Okay. Unlike the conductive hearing loss. So sensory neural hearing loss are more complex compared to conductive hearing loss. And so the sensory neural hearing loss is where we also look at the degree of hearing loss. So in some cases, perhaps there's only a little bit of hair cell that's damaged, and therefore the person could have a mild hearing loss. And so the person could hear quite well without the need of any technology, but they might struggle a little bit in background noise. Okay. In my case, none of my hair cells are working. So all of my hair cells in the cochlea are dead. And so that's why I have a cochlear implant. The cochlear implant will replace the function of the hair cell and to be able to send the sound to the auditory nerve. Those are the two main types, conductive and sensory neural hearing loss. And then the degree could range from mild to moderate to severe to profound. And one way for us to understand what type of hearing loss we have is to see a hearing health care provider where they will do a full hearing test and offer an explanation on what type and degree of hearing loss you have, and then they'll be able to recommend a suitable solution to the hearing loss. In terms of the identity piece, as you've heard me mention, a lot of people just know deaf or hearing, right? So deaf means that we're not able to hear completely. So when I take up my technology, I'm not able to hear anything, so I am deaf. But we need to look at hearing loss as a spectrum. So we have hearing on this side and completely deaf on the other side. And so based on the degree of hearing loss, we could be anywhere in between. And that term we describe as hard of hearing. So hard of hearing refers to the spectrum where, while I can hear you when I have my technology, but I need more time to process the information, especially when there's noise around me. It doesn't mean I am not able to understand you. I just need more time to hear and process the information. My brain is still fine. I have the connection to learn and to respond. Okay. So that's basically the overall snapshot of the hearing diversity. Yeah.
Okay, Tiam John?
Kuya Bowen, how could the hearing people in schools adapt more to the diversity in hearing disability to become a more inclusive school community? First and foremost, where do all learning processes take place?
Do you mind repeating your question one more time? I didn't get that.
I repeat, how could the hearing people in schools adapt more to the diversity in hearing disability to become a more inclusive school community? First and foremost, where do all learning processes take place?
Thank you for doing that. So that is a really great question. And I think it all starts with looking at our attitude towards the situation. Because I think from what I have observed is people get impatient when they are thinking about that they are doing this for other people. And oh, we have to do this for a small group of the population, as opposed to looking at, how it also benefits them as well. Because communication, looking at if a universal principle of design, we benefit, like everyone on this earth benefit from accessible and inclusive communication. So starting with that mindset, okay, so what can we do to make communication equal for everybody, not just for those with hearing loss, will go a long way to develop that patience to explore the different solution. So, for instance, in a classroom, we know that a classroom can have some bad acoustics where it could be really echoey. And so we've always, there is a standard of practice to recommend a speaker system in the classroom. And then the teacher will wear a microphone, and it will help project the teacher's voice all around the classroom. So even the children who are hearing, sitting at the back of the classroom, can hear the teacher's voice loud and clear. Right? Because typically when we speak, our sound, it will get quieter the farther that it goes. So if the teacher is at the front of the classroom speaking normally, the children at the back of the classroom won't really hear the teacher as well because our sound gets quieter and quieter over the distance in time. So when we put in a loudspeaker system, the quality of the sound is equal wherever we are in the classroom. So all children can focus more in the instruction and not be so easily distracted. And then this also helps for children who have difficulties staying focused, like ADHD. It also helps children who are learning English as a foreign language, and any children who may have learning differences. Okay, so it's not really just for children with hearing loss. Okay, and then the other piece that everyone can do is to establish communication as part of the class rule. Right? So at least in Canada, every classroom has a list of rules that all of the students agree to. So like, for example, no hitting another student, no doing this or that, being respectful, so there's a list of class rules. So we could put in communication into that rule as well. So like, for example, one person will speak at a time, or I will use a clear and loud voice when I share my ideas. I will face the person when I'm speaking. So, having those rules and everyone agreeing to it is another way for hearing people and the people with hearing loss to work collaboratively to foster a community of accessible and inclusion overall. So those would be the things that I recommend as a starting point. Because I think there are other questions coming up, and I will speak
Yes.
more to that. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Edgar Bowen, if I may add, yeah, truly, it's a big help having the microphone and the speaker inside the classroom. Also, it will help the teacher not to strain her voice when you're doing the teaching, right? Because most of the time, teachers, even having that struggle speaking so loudly, so to keep everyone engaged in the classroom, so that's a big help. And also, yeah, I totally agree with the rules. Okay, I think Jalea also have a question. Go ahead, Jalea.
So finally, can we ask you to share with everyone about inclusive technology for those with hearing disabilities and how it could help everyone to communicate better with each and everyone using inclusive communication in offline or online events?
That's what I thought the next question is about, the technology. So I think, in the very beginning of this session, I talked a little bit about the captioning, and that is a big help in the school community. So with the captioning, it is fairly straightforward to set up if there is access to the internet. And so basically, for a student with hearing loss, they could use their laptop or an iPad or even a smartphone, whichever they're comfortable with, and then they can use an application. And then that application will start recording any voices that's being heard. So mainly the teacher in the classroom. And so whatever the teacher says, then the app will start to type out what the teacher is saying. Okay. So that's definitely helpful when there's a lot of information to go through. And then the student can save the transcript and they can read it later. So that is the most popular use of technology for people with hearing loss in accessing information in the school. The other piece of technology is actually the sound field, which benefits everyone. But there's also something that is going to be more readily available. It's called the Auracast. So the Auracast is a new broadcast tool that has been developed by Bluetooth. Okay, so it only came out in the US in 2022, and it's starting to come out slowly. So we may not see it here right away. So the idea behind the Auracast is that anyone with a Bluetooth-enabled device. So, for us people with hearing loss, our hearing aids and cochlear implant, they have the Bluetooth capability to connect to another device. And the regular headphones and AirPods, they also have that Bluetooth connectivity where you will connect to the phone. Right? So the idea behind the Auracast will be where, let's imagine we are in the auditorium. Okay, let's say the entire school come together for a special prayer time or presentation. And there is this one microphone at the stage. And normally, if we don't have any inclusive technology, that one microphone is connected to the loudspeakers. And the big hall or the auditorium can be quite echoey. So for us with hearing loss, we can never understand what the main presenter is speaking in the microphone. So now with the Auracast, the great thing about it is that that microphone will be connected to the Auracast broadcast system. And then the Auracast broadcast system will be connected to all of the Bluetooth-enabled devices, whether it's hearing aids, cochlear implants, or your headphones. Then the voice of the speaker will go straight into the devices. And that means we don't have to experience any echo. So it's like the person's voice is inside our head. Okay? And the quality of the sound is crystal clear. And that is another way for us to be able to be part of a larger gathering and not have to worry about missing any information. Right? The other piece of inclusive technology, especially when the audio visual media is being used, because we know that a lot of the younger generation utilize YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok to access information. I think some of them have now been used as a teaching tool. So whenever there's an audio-visual media being used, there's already a feature to allow the creator to include captioning. So for example, if somebody like a student is showing a presentation and they're using Instagram as part of the presentation, they can activate the captioning feature, and it will create the captioning for them. And then that way the audience can view the captioning. So it's not only just the teacher who has to do everything, but all these students who want to share the ideas and thoughts could use those technology to make the experience accessible and inclusive. So those would be the three examples I can share that apply to within the school community. But of course, as much as technology is great, again, it goes back to the people's attitude. Do the people have the attitude and an open mindset to adopt the use of those technology, right? Because if they don't have the attitude, all of these technology are useless if nobody wants to use them. Okay. Mhm.
Tim John?
Wow! Thanks for those wonderful insights and recommendations. The inclusive communication best practices are truly important to the hearing loss center. In the view of the plight of those with hearing disabilities and others found in the margins, the Telehealth Plus Peer Support Network is a platform that gives ample space for the vulnerable sectors to advocate their cause. Our group welcomes the idea of also making our junior speakers and leaders clubs more inclusive and empowering to all the young people our age. We hope to be helped more on the coming days and months in the service of the nation and the global community, with the countless opportunities present to do good things and shine a light with the World Hearing Forum of members.
Kalia?
This has been very interesting discussion. We are very grateful for your valuable contribution to our event in the Philippines. We look forward to seeing you more in our advocacy and convergence events in the future. It has been such a wonderful session with you. Thank you, Kuya Bowen, as we appreciate your time, presence. Good luck in all your hearing health campaigns. Please share your final thoughts, Kuya Bowen.
Once again, thank you for the invitation to join this call. I've learned quite a lot from seeing the videos that you put together, and I want to know how old you are because you look quite mature for your age, and that level of confidence that you exhibited really inspiring, that it makes me think of some of the students that I work with, that I hope one day they will have the same level of confidence and energy that you all have shown. So I want to congratulate all of you for this success. So please do give yourself a round of applause.
Yeah, and share your
And
ages, Junior Ambassador. Share your ages. Tia Angelia is how young?
13 years old.
Gift? Sorry, choppy. Gift? 30 years old. Gift is 13. John?
9 years old.
9 years old. John is the
Wow.
youngest.
Yes, wow. Yeah, no, I'm just amazed at how you all came to be an ambassador at this age. So I mean, age is not an important factor. It's great that you have this passion already this early on, and I wish you all the very best success in your campaign as you promote safe listening. And I know you'll definitely shine a light on other people in the community. And I hope one day I will get to meet you in person when I have the opportunity to come to visit Philippines again. I had the pleasure of visiting in 2019 for an event that was organized by the Hard of Hearing Group Philippines. I would love to come back again and learn more about the work that y'all doing. I appreciate the invitation, and maybe once you turn 18, you will consider joining our organization in the future. In the meantime, all the best, and God bless you all.
Now we will proceed to our last featured speaker, one of our global advocates who himself part of the community of deaf and blind. He works at the Helen Keller National Center. You'll be surprised at how he manages to balance life and not be limited by whatever physical restraints to functionalities humans have. Let us hear his message through the voice recording and sign language, assisted by Miss Mary Ann Abrigo Argo. The spotlight is yours, Mr. David Bolton.
Hello, everyone. My name is David Volper. And my sign name is D on my chest. I work for Helen Keller National Center. My job is the regional representative role. And I am responsible for the Southeast US, covering FL, GA, AL, MS, and the Virgin Islands. I am deaf and communicate through American Sign Language, which is ASL. I was born deaf and grew up deaf, and was always involved in the deaf, hard of hearing, and deaf-blind community. I was always a part of schools for the deaf, or mainstream schools. I assume your experiences are similar or the same. And I am very excited to share with you my experiences and what I've learned, so I can help with your lives and your challenges. My inspiration and why I want to support deaf, hard of hearing, and deaf-blind individuals. Why? It is because I want to see them succeed despite facing many challenges, including communication breakdowns, frustrations with families, friends, schools, work, out in the community, and so on. Many of you have gone through a wide range of experiences within the deaf, hard of hearing, and deaf-blind community. There is a large spectrum of communication preferences. Some of us use sign language, some don't. Some use their voices, some speech read, others use both sign language and their voices. In addition, many others have different communication preferences. I always advocate to and for the deaf, hard of hearing, and deafblind community to make their own determination and choices. To those of you who are listening to me, I want you to know that despite of varied experiences, frustration and challenges, you can still analyze yourselves and decide the best way to make your needs known to others and how we can collaborate to address them, to improve my situation and also. We can use different ways to consider and learn how to make determinations and choices based on what you like and also what you don't like. To consider your expectations and preferences in making choices. I hope to help you consider your abilities and skills when thinking about your likes and dislikes and preferences. I also use a lot of assistive technology to communicate. On my phone, I can text with others or use apps to help others communicate with me. So there are many options. Sometimes I use voice or video relay services to connect with hearing people. I may use FaceTime as well to connect with interpreters and engage in a three-way conversation facilitated by an interpreter. As a result, everyone had access to communication. I also use interpreter support when in meetings online, taking with teachers, parents, government agencies, and many others when working. I also experience challenges when communicating offline. When I go to a place outside of the office, I must plan ahead for interpreting support to gain communication access. I am always setting up backup plans to address communication barriers. And I often think about solving problems before they occur. I want to emphasize that deafblind individuals have somewhat different communication needs and supports. Some do use sign language, and some do use their voices. Some don't. Some need distance interpreting while others require close vision interpreting. Still others need tactile sign language support. It varies. I am always analyzing and checking what the individual's communication preferences are and what their specific support needs look like. I'm always looking for ways to improve access to support for communication access related to education and future employment. This often requires collaborative efforts between government, local agencies, your families, friends, and community. Educational efforts are always emphasized to help people understand what it means to experience combined hearing and vision loss, and how to respond with support services. Here in the US, we have vocational rehabilitation to help people connect with jobs. We also have other agencies that help to provide interpreter support, along with the other agencies that provide services towards employment and educational needs. Interpreter and educational support in classrooms is also included. Some students may need AM/FM system to amplify hearing and other needs interpreter support, while some benefit from note takers. There are many different possibilities. My role and job is to always look for and investigate the best possible fit for each person on an individual, cases-by-case basis that is approach and goal.
Thank you very much, Miss Mary Ann, for being our sign language interpreter. Do you want to share some final messages?
Actually, yung message na gusto ko lang inform sa bawat isa. First, I would like to thank sa organization na to, especially sa mga bata, yung mga bata na nag-handle na. Thank you so much na sa murang edad nyo, you're very young, pero open-minded kayo na i-accept yung mga deaf natin, yung mga hard of hearing, and then deaf blind natin in our community. I just want to thank you so much for the support na merong organization na tumutulong, nagsusuporta sa mga kabataan na merong disability tulad ng deafness. And for our students, for our families na merong mga deaf, we are here to support, to encourage, and to love, especially to accept all of you, all the deaf students, all the deaf families, lahat. So, thank you so much. Para sa mga interpreters, let us help each other for the advocacy of our students with hearing impairment. We are here to help.
Oh, that's our official hashtag. We here to help. Thank you very much. Oh, wow. It's been an amazing afternoon, everyone. And to our attendees, truly, we appreciate everyone's effort and contribution. Miss Lauren, anything else to share to everyone? Thank you, Miss Mary Ann, for the effort being here. Miss Lauren, any final message to everyone?
Yes, thank you. And we just work together for WHF, Changing Mindsets.
True enough, this year, for 2024, we need to help in our own little way in changing people's mindset. In what way? Let us put it this way. Everyone should be part of the way we communicate, whether we are in the classroom, whether we are at work, whether we are in our communities. Let's make an effort to really reach out and find ways to connect with them. This way, our communication would really be inclusive. It's time that we embrace everyone within our community and love them for what they are. We are all gifted in our own way. Perhaps in the future, we'll also learn different sign language too. Well, maybe next year, let's give it a try. But then again, this year for 2024, let's change the mindset. Instead of just focusing of just us trying to express ourselves, let's hear it. Let's amplify the voice of those who are challenged, bringing their message across. Thank you very much, everyone, for your time. I appreciate your presence. Thank you, Miss Lauren. And of
Thank you, Miss
course,
Grace
Miss
and the
Mary
kids, Gavin and Gift.
Gavin and Gift. Thank you. Thank you for the love. This has been your mentor, Grace Garcera. Thank you, and God bless you.
As we conclude this afternoon's program, we would like to thank you all for sharing your precious Sunday afternoon with us. We appreciate your supporting us in our advocacy, shining a light on one's accessible, inclusive communication and practices by having the right minds. Once again, I am Gift Garcera, and on behalf of my co-hosts Jalea and John, thank you for your attention. Always remember, be here to help. Enjoy the rest of the day.